Hi everyone, welcome to module number two. Module number two is all about consent management overview and customer insights. So in real-time journey, consent is captured and stored at the contact point. A contact point is the destination for a message, for example, emails or SMS. So what I'm going to do in this module really is to first of all understand where to go to in customer insight if you want to know a particular contact. What type of consent have they given you? Have they given you a consent for receiving emails or SMS or a particular custom channel? And then number two, how to actually configure it. Like, where do you even go in customer insight to configure the consent management? It starts with the compliance profile, and then it sort of goes all the way to the topics and all that. So we're going to learn about that as well. But essentially, just so that we're on the same page, when we're talking about consent management, all we're really saying is, has the contact given you permission to receive commercial emails? And commercial emails is just, I think everyone knows what a commercial email is, right? We have all subscribed to a particular email or a particular promotion or whatever, right, to businesses. And we've either given our emails to that business and said, hey, I'm interested in such and such. You can send me marketing emails. And what you're really doing is you're giving them consent, right? Commercial consent rights to get those emails in your inbox. It's the same thing in customer insight because you're going to be sending emails and SMS. And in order for you to send these emails and SMS to those contacts, you need to capture consent. So that's what this module is all about. Where do we actually go to know if a particular contact has given us consent, and how do we actually configure it so that we get it right for the first time, and we feel more comfortable for knowing that contacts have subscribed to what they want to subscribe to, and they can actually unsubscribe to things that they do not want to receive. Right, the last thing that we want to do is break any regulations for the country that we are using customer insight journey for. So let's start with number one. Where do we go if we want to know a particular contacts, what they've subscribed to or what kind of consent they've given us? So I'm going to click on contacts. I'm going to go and find my contacts. I'm just going to type my name in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the communication tab. So the third one there. The communication tab really gives you a quick overview. Oh, let me refresh it. There was an error just there that we saw. Maybe the error occurred during initialization of control. Oh, it's not fun for a demo, is it? Let me try again one more time. This is a trial account, so I should not be seeing much errors, but who knows? Who knows? Let me click on communication. Okay, maybe I need to clear cache. Let me see. Something fishy is happening. I won't delete this, don't worry. It's going to be a first take. Because it's great to learn sometimes that there can be errors on a form, and sometimes it's good to also troubleshoot and see where that might be coming from. So I'm going to refresh this and see if the error still contains. If not, then you're going to learn how to troubleshoot today as well in module number two. Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned. All right, so let's refresh now. And if I click on insights, we should be able to hopefully, sorry, communication. We should have, hey, there you go, it's working. I mean, it is a trial account, right? So there was no configurations that was done or anything like that. So I'm going to go back to my contact, Omar, and see if that works fine now. So find your contact. That's the first step, right? Find the contact that you want to know what type of consent they've given you. And then once you've done that and once the form loads, and if you're wondering again, well, Omar, I don't see this form. I don't see communication tab. I don't see details. Please go to make.powerapps.com, go to the relevant environment, and then find the out-of-the-box contacts, and then go to forms, and then see what forms that you're using at the moment. So this is the out-of-the-box form. If you're using a different form, or maybe your organization has renamed the tab to something else, that might be the case, right? If you don't see the exact same thing that I'm seeing. But if you click on communication, in here, it will give you a quick view of the email consent and also the SMS as well that they've added. And so for the email, you can see my email is there. And then under here, you can see the commercial communication. as well as the transactional. So we've talked about what a commercial email is. If you're selling things, you're basically marketing something, you're offering your services. Any of those are commercial emails, right? And then transactional, these ones are more like, just an FYI. Like for example, if a particular contact has signed up to an event that you're marketing and you need to send them the actual confirmation of them registering to the event, that becomes a transactional, right? And another example might be if a contact has purchased something from your website and you do need to actually send them the transactional email that they made business with you, that becomes a transactional email as well. So if I switch the contact point to SMS, you will also see the same thing as well for commercial and transactional. So they are captured in two different areas, not just one consent for both email and SMS. You have a consent area for email and you have a consent area for SMS. And the reason why this is the case is because some contacts may only want to receive emails. They don't want to receive SMS, right? Or some contacts may want to receive SMS, but they don't want to receive emails. So that's why it's separated so that it's very clear to know which consent a particular contact has given you based on the different types of channels that your use cases or business has. So now that we understand where to go for a particular contact and what types of consent they've given you, let's move on to the next stage, which is how do we actually configure this? How do we configure a compliance profile? Because that's where it all starts, right? You have your organization, your entity has a compliance profile for all commercial emails and transactional emails, and you get to sort of configure how that plays out with all of your contacts, right? So we're going to move on to that. But just in summary, if you want to know what consent a particular contact has given you, go to the contact, click on the communication tab, and then under the contact point, switch from email to SMS, and then scroll down, and you should see the commercial, and then you should be able to see the consent area where they've opted in or opted out, and then in here you can see the different types of topics which we'll cover in the next step as well when we actually set up the compliance profile. Okay, so now we're going to go to settings. So I'm going to change the area and go to settings, go to compliance profile, and then I'm just going to pause here for a second once it loads. And we're going to just focus on the default compliance profile because that's probably what you will see as well, right? Because if you've created the trial account, every trial account comes with a default. Even if you purchase a license, it will always have a default compliance profile. If we open up the default compliance profile, let's actually go through from top to bottom. Under General tab, it's got the name default, of course. The consent link type is a preference center. So what this means is that the customer insight journey has already created an out-of-the-box preference center for you for managing consent, whether they opted in for email or opted out. If you want to see what the preference center looks like, I'm going to click on the preference center and then I am going to click on, so this is the out of the box default, as you say, right, default preference center. If I click on preview and test, of course you can modify this, you can design it, you can add your own colors and all that. Just to sort of let so that you can see it. If you go to preview and test, you'll see that it's got the marketing permissions. This could be your company's name. You could have some text in here that says things like, hey, below, please choose what types of communication preferences you would like to, make changes to. And then in here, you'll have the option for email, if they have given you the email, of course, or SMS, because it's two different things. And then you can click on unsubscribe me from all marketing communication. You can reword this as well. You can link this to a particular topic as well, which we'll definitely cover that. And then if they click on submit, what will happen is the contact will actually update based on what the user has chosen. So if they've opted out, if you go to that contact, it should say opted out for commercial emails or for commercial SMS. So that's the default preference. So in a nutshell, Customer Insight Journeys has its own place for managing consent for the user. So that's easy, right? So if you send an email, you'll have the compliance profile at the bottom, and then when the user clicks on it, they can unsubscribe, subscribe, do all of that, and it's all taken care of. As soon as they do the action, it will automatically update it on the contact, and you don't have to do anything else, any other work, right? But then, what if you are managing your, consent on an external website, or you have your own other system, right? Then it becomes a different compliance profile. Instead of a preference center, it's going to be a external one. So it's going to be an external link. Now you're managing all of the opt-ins and opt-outs from an external link. This is only relevant for businesses who are already, they have their own sort of, uh, CRM system, and they are coming into customer insight journeys. It's just, it might be either very hard to, migrate everything to customer insight in terms of consent wise, or they just want to manage their, consent management in an external place. Then the consent link type becomes an external link. But for 80% of the time, if you're going to be investing in customer insight, I would recommend to use the preference center, because it does everything you need in terms of storing exactly what a contact can subscribe to and unsubscribe to, and it does all the job for you once the contact goes through the default preference center as well. Company address, you can add your company address. Quiet time settings, it's just another feature basically that allows you to turn on a particular quiet time setting, so that, if you don't want emails or SMS going to contacts at midnight, or you want to do specific time frames where emails can be not sent to contacts, you can go ahead and set that up as well. And if we go to the next tab and click on consent purposes, you'll see the two types of communication purposes that we've talked about previously when we were on the contact. You've got the commercial, and then you've also got the transactional. The type is commercial communications. The email enforcement, which we'll go through. So if we actually click on commercial, we'll go through the different types of enforcement as well for commercial. So for commercial, oops, I double clicked. Hang on, let me go back to commercial here. Yeah, there we go. So for commercial purpose, the key thing to know really or understand is the email enforcement level, right? So there's three types of enforcement level. You've got the restrictive, non-restrictive, and then disabled. So restrictive means that customers must opt in to receive these emails, and this most of the time, 99% of the time, should be restrictive, because you are sending a commercial email based on what country your business operates in. If you do non-restrictive, unless they explicitly opt out, customers will actually receive the email messages. And then disabled means, it will go out. Commercial emails will go out no matter what, no matter if they have subscribed to or not. Definitely not recommended to do disabled, because for commercial emails, they have to basically opt it in, right, to receive those emails. So that's the commercial one. Transactional, very much simple. You'll notice that the enforcement level model for transactional is disabled, which is okay. But again, review what country your business is operating in. I'm in Australia, and don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure for transactional emails, because you're just sending an FYI, because the contact has either submitted a form or done some business with you, and you're just sending an FYI email, those transactional emails, enforcement models can be disabled. But for anything for commercial, definitely needs to be restricted. If we scroll down a little bit more, you'll see another compliance profile, which is the tracking purposes. So when a particular contact receives an email or an SMS, and they click on, let's say, a link, or they open the email, or they do anything with the email, basically engage with the email, right? It also, Customer Insight also tracks that, right? So if you need to, have this turned on, then yes, you wanna have the tracking purposes on as well, because this will help you understand how well your emails and SMS are doing later as well. That's where you can see, the click through rates and all that stuff as well, which is fantastic. Okay, now that we understand the default compliance profile, the only thing really different from the default one to creating a brand new compliance profile is the consent link type. So you can see here I've created another one, and the only difference really is if I click on the ones that I've created, the only difference with this compliance profile is the external link. So the preference center where contacts are able to, so basically what I'm saying in here is contacts, when they click on the when you receive an email and then you click on unsubscribe button, usually the unsubscribe button should be going to the preference page that I've just shown you, but because it's external now, it will actually take them to an external website where they can manage their own opt-in and opt-out. So it's not being stored in Customer Insight, it's an external one. Again, this is for a particular use case or a particular business, but most of the time, if you're investing in a Customer Insight and you're setting everything up, I would highly suggest you to use the preference center because that's what it's for. It's done all the work for you. All you need to do is modify the preference page to add your brand colors, your topics and things like that, and then you are basically good to go instead of using a external one. The other thing that I wanted to go through is under communication purposes. If I go to a purpose, so this is a commercial purpose. If I scroll down just a little bit, you'll see this thing that says topics, and you might be wondering, what is topics? You can actually add topics to a purpose, right? So think of topics as, let's give it a quick, maybe a shopping website, right? So generally, a shopping website will have men's clothes, women's clothes, shoes. They will have things for sale. So if I was someone who's only interested in receiving, sales that are things that are on sales, that can be a particular topic, or that can be a particular subscription list. I think, right? Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is, you can have instead of having just a yes, Omar has subscribed to receiving commercial emails. You can actually really go, Omar has subscribed to receive commercial emails, but he's only subscribed to receiving sales or shoes that are for sale or new items that have come to the site. So you really just you're dialing into a particular thing that the contact is interested in. And of course this comes back to your business, right? Your business structure. So if you have a business for, let's say, clothing business or marketing business, you might have a few different types of commercial topics like business updates. Those are only relevant to people who are interested in the business updates. You might be able to do maybe like graduates blogs. So those will only be interested in grads who want to learn more about the company. So you sort of get the idea, right? So you can create topics based on what the contact is interested in. So if I click on add topic, all you need to do really is give it a name. So I could say something like maybe business, business updates. The parent purpose will always be for whatever purpose that you're creating it for. Obviously, for this one, it's commercial and that can't be changed. And then what I need to do is save it. Really, that's it. Once I do that, if I go save and close, I should be able to see that topic under the commercial purpose that I've created. So it's saving at the moment. Give it a few seconds. And there you go. I have my topics under my commercial purpose. Later on, you'll be able to see how contacts will actually be able to select business updates as a topic in the preference center area as well. So if I click on the preference center that I was talking about just before, it's the default one. So it will not have your topic, but you can actually have that topic in here as well. So if I click on edit, the default preference, I can say and have the topics that I've just created inside here so that contacts can actually see what's on the right hand side. I can create the topics as a consent in here. I can say this links to the commercial. I'm going to say the properties for this one is going to be opted in when they actually do it, and the topic is going to be business updates. So, and I'm going to rename this and say subscribe, subscribe to business updates, right? So if the contact has checks this off, then that means that they will be subscribed to the business updates topic for the commercial, and then the behavior once the form gets submitted is that they'll be opted in for this particular topic, right? So you can kind of start to see how this plays out, right? With the preference center, you can add as many topics as you want, or you could just have one commercial subscribe or unsubscribe that basically deals with all commercial emails. But if you want to really dive in and say, hey, if you only want to receive emails for a particular topic, then go ahead and pick that, and you will only receive emails that are to do with that topic. So it's actually better for consumers, right? Cool. All right, let me go back to the consent. We've talked about the compliance profile, the default compliance profile. We've talked about the out-of-the-box preference center and the fact that you can actually modify this to suit your brand colors and things like that. We've also talked about the different types of consents purposes. You've got the commercial and you've got the transactional. You also have the tracking purpose as well. We've talked about the enforcement levels for commercial. We've also talked about having topics inside the commercial or even transactional emails as well. So once you've done that and once you've set up your compliance profile, the next thing to do really is to go to back to real-time journey and click on consent center, right? This is a trial account at the moment. So once your contact starts to subscribe and unsubscribe, you will start to see all of the contact point consents, right? So just for a quick demo before, I've added my contact for I've added a phone number and I've added an email, right? And I've linked it to the consent type purpose, and I've made sure that the purpose is commercial. I have not added a topic. I've opted in, which means now this contact with this email or this phone number is able to receive SMS or email for commercial purposes, and they've opted in as well. And the source is internal because I've directly added this in now. But in real life scenario, right, once you build in all of your contacts and all that, and you start to send emails, contacts will go to that consent center page that I was showing you, and they're able to select what they actually want to receive or what they want to subscribe to. As soon as they submit that form, you should start to see this being actually shown here to you in terms of, oh, yep, Mark has subscribed to SMS for this particular topic or just commercial. And then next time you're sending emails to them, the email will check if Mark or that particular contact has subscribed to receiving those types of emails. And if it's yes, the email or SMS will go. If it's no, the email will not go because it looks at the contact point, the phone or the email. So hopefully this starts to make sense to you. It should not be complicated. All we're really doing is creating a compliance profile so that we know, hey, our organization has a commercial and transactional compliance profile. You can go ahead and pick a particular subscription list, meaning topics, aka topics, whether you want to subscribe to a particular emails or SMS. And once we send you emails, we look at the contact points, your phone number and email, and then we also check the commercial, if you subscribe to commercial emails, and then we have also checked any topics that you've subscribed to. If those two are check, then we send you the email as well. And in the next few modules, you'll start to see, once we get into the emails and SMS, where you'll actually have to link the compliance profile to a particular email or SMS. So every email that you send or every SMS you send, it needs to be associated to a compliance profile, whether the email is a commercial email or transactional email as well. So hopefully that was jam-packed. I know it was a bit long, but it's a very, very important thing to learn and get right. And the reason why I put this in module number 2 is that once you set this up, then you're ready to go, starting to create your emails and all that as well. What I'll do is I'll also add the consent management overview link from Microsoft so that you can learn a bit more, in regards to how the whole consent management works as well. All right, see you in module number 3.